Do you recall putting your in her mouth?
I don't.
But any reason why your would be out? Should we show you the video?
In a system meant to protect and serve, some officers their power for twisted gratification. But what goes down when these pervs with badges get caught red-handed?
Did you ever give him a hand job?
No.
I don't know, I may have said this earlier. I'm gonna f you like a good little boy if you keep calling me daddy. He goes, yes, daddy, please.
I didn't talk to anybody younger though.
Not on Snapchat.
No.
Here are several instances when cops get caught in the act. Starting with the case of Jaylen, who was suspended for inappropriate communication with a person who was not of the legal age of consent.
There were also some conversations that were exchanged between you and this person.
I didn't talk to anybody younger though.
Not on Snapchat.
No.
Not recently. So you've never shared any videos?
Time that you had Snapchat. Because I know you said you deleted it, but I didn't hear when you deleted it.
Just delete the app. I deleted that when I was in the academy.
On April 30th, 2020, Jaylen Fleer, a former San Diego County Sheriff's deputy, was interrogated regarding his involvement in inappropriate misconduct. He had been involved in several serious crimes, primarily related to unlawful misconduct with people who had not attained the legal age of consent. He not only sought out these youngsters for intimate activities, but also attempted to arrange meetings with them for similar purposes. The investigation, which began following anonymous tips, uncovered that Fleer used his position as a law enforcement officer to exert pressure on his victims, making them hesitant to report his behavior. During the interrogation, Jaylen faced questioning about his interaction with underage individuals, which involved conversations and arrangements to meet for gross misconduct. The questioning occurred in an administrative office at Central Jail, with detectives working to uncover the truth behind the allegations. The interview began with detectives employing a casual approach, gathering basic information about Jaylen's background.
So, I'm a detective with the Family Protection Unit with the City of Chula Vista Police Department. I work alongside Detective Kale here. We're actually doing an investigation on some allegations that we have to obviously look into. You're a law enforcement officer, so you know that we look into everything equally. I want to make sure, though, before we get started, that you're aware that this is a voluntary interview, and so I just want to make sure that you're aware of all of those things. And so I'm going to just have you, and this is one of those forms that they give everybody, so it doesn't really fit. So if I just happen to cross out as I'm going along,
Okay.
sorry about that. So it says, thank you for coming voluntarily to, and then we'll go ahead and just put the admin office.
Okay.
Right. Oh, and of course, you know about body worn. So yeah, this is my body worn. Of course, it audio and video records everything, and there's also an audio recorder here just in case.
Okay.
Office at Central Jail. To share your side of the story with us, of course, in regards to the report that we're investigating.
Okay.
You're not under arrest and you are not being detained.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'll have you go ahead and write it in. And you can initial or say yes.
Just
whichever.
initial.
Yeah. And if you would just go ahead and read the next one. So you understand that you're not under arrest and you are not being detained. You understand that you're free to leave at any time. There will not be any locked doors keeping you from leaving. As you notice, that one doesn't have a lock behind you.
Yeah.
You can choose what questions you want to answer, and you can choose to leave or let us know, and we will assist you with the exit. Although you're probably going to be the one assisting me because I don't know my way around here.
Okay.
So you understand, like, if you, as far as like leaving, you have access points and you know how to leave or where to go.
I understand.
Okay.
This technique served to create a relaxed atmosphere and potentially lower Jaylen's guard. The conversation then shifted to Jaylen's personal history, covering his education, career, and recent marriage.
Really want to get to know you first, if you don't mind.
Definitely.
Okay. So I'm gonna lean back and get comfortable. Just because, are you comfortable? Do you want to take off
I'm
your
good.
duty belt?
No, I'm good.
Okay, because I understand that, you know, the duty belt gets pretty annoying pretty quickly, so if you want to take it off at any point, you
No,
let
I'm
me know.
skilled.
So, of course, I've done my research and investigations and everything, so I've learned a little bit about you, but I'd like to learn a little bit more, if that's okay. I found that you went to Santana High School?
I did, yes.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing?
Yeah, so grew up Santana High School, played sports, football, baseball. Went to Grossmont College for a little bit, played baseball there. And I got a job here. Worked at Dick's Sporting Goods before this, so this is my second job. So I'm working with this department for coming up on 5 years now.
So baseball seemed pretty important to you back in high
baseball's
school.
fun,
What position?
yeah. Pitcher.
Cool. How's your arm holding up?
I mean, soreness every once in a while, but I haven't thrown it for a while. So.
Yeah, no, it still kills me. I played softball.
Okay, nice.
So I
Right.
was, third, short, center, and pitcher.
You're in San Diego?
Yeah, down Hilltop, Bonita Valley kind of area. But I know, like, back when, I don't know if it's the same for you, they had no idea, like, about icing and massaging. And
Yeah, I knew about icing stuff. Yeah.
I did not, so I am paying the price
Girls
for
throwing
it.
her hand, so.
Yes, and it's brutal, though. Let me tell you, I'm paying for it still. But, so did you ever play any other sports in high school?
In high school, no, just football and baseball.
Football, baseball?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else in school that you enjoyed doing?
Hanging out with friends, just typical high school stuff. I mean, it's pretty sheltered from my mom, so I didn't get out much, but yeah, just the sports and stuff.
Okay, how come you say you're...
Keeping me squared away, keeping me in line.
Very cool. And have you always worked corrections?
Yeah, I attempted to go out to the patrol, went to the academy. Things didn't work out there, so I came back here.
Did you have fun at the academy while you were
Oh
there?
yeah, I enjoy it. It's good. I mean, camaraderie and stuff like that. So
Gradually, the detective steered the conversation towards Jaylen's online presence, slowly introducing more targeted and potentially incriminating suspects.
There's not a lot of places you can meet up with people right now. That's one, comfortable, gives us enough space, and, makes you feel like, that you're not, at your home or randomly out in the middle of nowhere. So I know RPD is like refusing to let anybody in the doors, so I can understand. How about social media? Are you active on social media at all?
Facebook and Instagram. Had Snapchat back in the day. Got rid of that with my wife. I got caught in the academy with her and stuff, with some stuff. But
Can you tell me about that, or?
it was with another recruit in the academy. But
Okay. So you're communicating with another recruit?
I was back in. I stopped. Everything got cut off. Got rid of. I didn't delete the Snapchat. I just deleted the app. So
Okay.
I haven't used it for like 2.5 years now.
Okay. So on Facebook, just because I like to jot down everybody's social media when I can, what's your Facebook login? Like your username?
Just under Jaylen Fleer.
It's your name?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then you said Instagram? Is that right?
Instagram, yeah.
Okay. What's your Instagram username?
I think
And then you said you got rid of Snapchat, but when you did have it, what was it?
just Jaylen Fleer.
Okay. So the one that you had there, has that account since been deleted, or just
That one.
deactivated
That's just delete the app. I think it's still there.
Okay. And I know when it comes to Facebook, you connect it to an email address. Do you know what email address is connected to it? And then your Instagram account, what, same email?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And I know sometimes with Snapchat, they'll have you either sign up with a phone number or an email.
I believe it's my phone number.
Throughout this phase, the investigators carefully observed Jaylen's responses for any signs of inconsistency. A crucial shift in the interrogation occurred when the detectives produced a photograph of Jaylen, requesting him to verify its origin and usage.
When we looked into it, it looks similar to you, so I don't know if you can take a look at the picture and just tell me if you've seen this picture before. Oh, I have like 15 million things here. Okay. So this picture right here.
Yeah, that's definitely me with the gross one.
Okay, so this picture right here, how old were you when it was taken?
I don't know, 20?
20? Have you ever used this picture on any social media site?
I think it was Snapchat back in the day, yeah.
Okay. Alright. Have you ever shared this picture with anybody on Snapchat?
Yeah, probably my wife, to be honest. Obviously I talked to other girls back in the day too, but I can't remember.
Okay.
Off the head.
If you had to guesstimate how many times you may have shared the photo, how many times?
That one?
This revelation appeared to unsettle Jaylen, marking a noticeable change in his demeanor. The tension escalated as the detectives confronted him with allegations of communicating with an underage female.
Have you ever communicated with any females that we've already recognized that yes, you have with your recruit from the past? Is there anyone else you've communicated with on Snapchat?
Back then, No, just close friends and coworkers and stuff like that.
Anyone recently?
No.
Is there any reason why your phone number and email might be linked to a different Snapchat account?
Another one? No. I never had another one. Just the Jaylen Clear one.
Okay, so that phone number and email wouldn't be attached to
No.
any other account? Okay.
The questioning intensified, with the detectives more forcefully challenging Jaylen's account and highlighting connections between the photograph and the accusations.
Why I wonder if this photo would be in anyone else's hands.
I mean, for someone being younger, no, it wasn't anyone I sent younger.
So this photo was sent within the last 3 weeks. Have you sent this
No,
photo
definitely not. It wasn't me.
not to anyone within the last 3 weeks? Okay. And you've only shared it with a select few people?
Yeah, it was, I mean, that's a long time ago, so.
Okay. So I want to make sure to get all the people you have shared it with, just to make sure they wouldn't try to send it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know there's like screenshots and stuff. I don't remember that one being screenshotted on Snapchat.
Yeah, because Snapchat lets you know when you're
Yeah,
screenshotting.
he'll tell you. So, that was a long time ago, so I don't know.
Okay. So, you don't know who I might be able to connect with this photo as far
On
as
that one? No, that was a long time ago.
You said you've only shared it a couple times?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a basic photo. I want to save that one or anything like that.
So it was either your wife or whoever the other person you might have shared it with that might have shared the photo again? My question is...
I doubt my wife would do that.
Yeah.
We've been together and stuff for so long.
Well, so you dated this girl for 3 years, and when you were 20, that's 23, you kindled your relationship with your wife about 3 years ago?
Like literally, yeah, it was about a month apart from my
The
ex.
other one. So you've been with her for 3 years,
Yeah.
so you like the long-term relationships?
I've always been in long term.
3 to 3. All right.
Their strategy involved posing questions that compelled Jason to contemplate the evidence, potentially exposing inconsistencies in his story. A pivotal moment arose when the investigators disclosed information about a Snapchat account linked to Jaylen, incorporating personal details about him.
Really want to understand why this person would be in with the photo, but the only one who could really help me with that is you.
Yeah. No, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. No.
Okay. Well, along with the photo came some additional information about your personal life.
Okay.
And based on some of the information you shared with me today, it seems to add up.
Okay.
So is there any reason why the person would say they're you and share your information?
Sounds like it'd be someone that knows me then, obviously. But I don't know who. I don't have any enemies that would be doing something like that. Can I ask what information was shared? What they know?
We know that you're a baseball player.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that information was kind of shared.
Okay.
Your work schedule.
It's been 5 years now I've worked here.
Specifically the transition to 7 days on, 7 days off.
Really? I haven't shared anything like that recently. I couldn't tell you who that would be.
So let's take it back a little bit. You said you played football in high school, right? What position did you play?
I was a defensive end.
Defensive end. Did you have the same jersey the whole time you played?
My last 2 years were, 82, and then first 2 years changed up.
And what year did you graduate?
2011.
Okay. So, I know as an athlete, sometimes when I would do my usernames and stuff, I would kind of use a combination of my things that I know about myself, right? So that way I wouldn't forget it. So this particular picture came from an account with this username.
This revelation seemed to catch Jaylen off guard, prompting more guarded responses. As the interview progressed, the line of questioning became increasingly explicit, digging into matters of shared inappropriate conduct.
I want to know the truth.
Yeah, no, I never even heard of that account.
Okay. Have you ever shared any images of your penis with anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many times would you say you've done that?
A lot.
Can you kind of explain that a little bit more to me?
I mean, my wife, my ex-girlfriend, back in the day, Tinder and stuff, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you know how Tinder is. High school, even, junior high, I did.
Did you ever share any videos of you having sex with anyone?
With anyone? No. I've always had personal videos of me and my wife. That was it. And my ex actually had one, but...
What does your ex look like?
She's blonde.
She's blonde? Okay. So you've never shared any videos?
No, I have not, no.
Just still shots?
Yeah.
Can you, I know this is kind of personal, so let me know if you get uncomfortable at all. Can you tell me what some of those images look like?
Video I had, I used toys. It's awkward, but yeah, I used toys on my wife and stuff.
Okay. Can you explain the toys?
It's
She's your wife, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your wife, it's intimate, we
Sounds
totally get this, yeah.
Dildos, a vibrator. That's really it. That's all I had.
Okay. You and your wife haven't been in that house too long, right? When did you guys move in?
About a year and a half ago.
And you guys, how many bedrooms are in the house?
4.
4. Do you guys live with anyone else?
No,
Okay. Do you guys have a master bedroom?
we do, yeah.
All right. Can you tell me about your master bedroom?
It's, I mean, just a big white room, big king bed. I mean, there's nothing really special to it.
Okay. Just because it gives me kind of some insight of like,
Yeah.
what your home life is like. You guys still sleep in the same room? That's a good marriage.
Yeah.
I say that because people have been married a long time. Obviously, we come into contact with a lot of them. Do you guys have a TV in your room?
We do, yeah.
Okay. What kind of a TV?
Just a Samsung TV.
Okay. Is it like a large room that has like one of those double door entries? Because I know some of those houses have them.
No, it's just a single door.
It's a single door?
Yeah.
Okay. Any dressers or?
Yeah, we have one dresser.
Can you
Actually,
just,
we have two nightstands and a dresser.
okay. Can you describe the dresser to me?
Yeah, it's like a tannish brown, I guess.
Okay. Is it newer?
Somewhat, yeah, quite good.
Because you never know, like sometimes when people move in, they have like that chic style look or like the modern look. So it just helps me to get an idea of what home life is like.
This led to Jaylen expressing hesitation about continuing with legal representation.
That we're investigating and the Snapchat account, and of course your phone number and everything in connection with it, and some of the combinations of numbers and everything there. You can understand why, obviously,
Yeah, no,
we have a growing
I
concern.
understand. It's weird.
And of course your picture's attached to it,
Yeah.
right? Which is even more like either someone's.
Can I ask what you said? You got new ones too.
There were images that were shared, yes, that
Can I ask? I know I'm sure you got them here. Can I ask to see what they are?
you want to see the picture.
Yeah, so I can get an idea.
Do you ever even not to? Yeah. So I don't actually have a clear shot of one. Yeah, so I did not
Okay, I understand.
print out those
I wait till I have
pictures.
a lawyer because I'm uncomfortable with this. This is weird. So
Of course, like you definitely have the ability to do that, and of course,
Yeah.
this is completely voluntary.
I understand.
And so
I just don't want to get caught up on something. I'm working this career. I don't want to get caught up on something.
I fully understand. Yeah. So you can, yes, 100% elect not to speak with us. You are not under arrest at this time.
Yeah, I understand.
Obviously, given the fact that we're here and the fact that we're speaking to you, I know that your bosses are going to want to speak with
question.
you
Yeah,
afterwards. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and allow them to speak with you after.
Okay.
In a final strategic move, the detectives revealed the existence of a search warrant for Jaylen's phone, vehicle, and residence.
Do you have any other questions? I mean, can we still ask you questions, or do you want to stop?
No, I want to wait because I'm uncomfortable
Okay.
with this. So
Okay.
I'm going to talk to a lawyer.
Okay. So then, I want to thank you for
Yeah,
even
no,
taking
I
the time to speak with me for this long. I can imagine that obviously being confronted with any level of questions can be uncomfortable, so I do appreciate that you've allowed us to speak with you even for this long.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so with the next step, however, I'm going to go ahead and pull some documents here. Or yeah. So there are a few steps that we're going to be taking after this. Again, you are not being detained by us or anything, but we are acting on behalf of the court moving forward.
Okay.
Okay. So I will give you a chance to read through this. This is a search warrant that was granted this afternoon by a judge.
Okay.
The warrant does allow us to grab some DNA swabs from you,
Okay.
as well as any mobile devices that might be in your or potentially in your locker. Do you have your personal phone with you here?
I do have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it inside your locker?
It's on my person right now.
Okay. So if you want to go ahead and hand it to us, we definitely don't need to go in and grab it from you.
Okay.
But the search warrant does require that we take it from you.
Okay.
Okay. Additionally, it does allow us to have access to your vehicle.
Okay.
Is your vehicle parked here?
It's parked a few blocks away.
Okay. Do you remember exactly where you?
It's over across from Cap's Pizza over there.
Cap's Pizza?
Yeah.
And is it like in a parking
It's in a parking lot.
Okay. Is it like one of those paid parking lots?
Yeah.
Okay. So Cap's Pizza. I'll put a note on that. So the warrant does allow for us to also process your vehicle.
You guys are gonna take my vehicle?
No, we're going to process it here.
Okay.
So that we actually have someone here that's going to help us take some pictures and just go ahead and do what needs to be done, so we don't have to.
Okay.
We recognize that warrants are a part of our job, but we don't like to inconvenience people unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So that's why we actually brought our technician with us here, because it is we obviously want to take your DNA with the least effort possible. So that's why we're using the swabs. And the same goes for, of course, your phone, which you stated is on your person. We don't want to put hands on if we don't have to. And
Yeah, no, I understand. I'll give it up.
like you said, as a law enforcement officer, you're willing to comply. With that being said, after that, we will also have access to your locker. Are your vehicle keys inside your locker?
My vehicle keys are in my vehicle right now.
They're in your vehicle?
Yeah.
So you have a code?
I have a code.
Okay. Would you mind sharing that code with us?
Despite the mounting pressure and extended questioning, Jaylen maintained his innocence and refused to grant access to his phone without a lawyer present.
Do you have any other, as far as your phone, yes,
Put it in airplane mode?
yes, for sure. I don't want to break your phone, and sometimes when we access it without your code, it could, who knows. So is it possible for us to get your code?
You guys would break my phone?
No, I'm just saying they will get into it like hard-wise, and I don't want to cause any damage to the phone if it's unnecessary.
I mean, you don't have my phone. I'd rather say no to that. I want a lawyer for this.
Okay.
Okay, swipe down so you can put it in airplane mode.
Oh, okay. Don't. There we are. Okay. This is like a battery case?
Yeah, it's just an extra battery.
Do you want to keep that? Does it come off pretty easily?
Yeah, I can take it off for you.
Oh, that's alright.
Is that an
Probably
iPhone?
take it off.
It
Yeah,
is
it's an
an
iPhone.
What kind of iPhone is it?
C10 DX.
iPhone what?
X10.
Is it the original or is
The
it
original
one in
X.
the
There
original
we are.
X? Okay.
Because there's no need to take the battery.
And is it updated with the latest iOS, whatever they
Should be,
sent
yeah.
out?
Everything should be updated.
Alright. Okay, so, do you have any questions as far as the warrant? Because I'm going to bring my lab technician in here so she can go ahead and guide you through it.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. And I'm going to keep the body worn camera and everything on.
That's fine,
okay?
yeah, I understand.
Do you have any other phones, like a department issued cell
I do,
phone or
no.
anything like that?
No. May I ask, are you guys gonna be taking stuff from the house like that? My wife might be like the bed stuff. I see it says here bedding sheets and stuff like that.
Yes, if it matches what it is that we're looking for based on
Okay.
our investigation.
Yeah.
The interrogation concluded with a collection of DNA samples from Jaylen and the detectives providing case information and outlining the next steps.
So Jay, this is here. She's working with us, so she'll assist in just gathering the swab.
Okay.
Taking some pictures. So she just takes pictures so we know who the swabs are connected to.
Okay. That's fine. Stand up.
Alright, so like I mentioned, just obviously because we had to notify Phil that we were coming there. They're just going to come in and chat with you.
Yeah.
We'll kind of try and get everything started so we're not holding you up any longer than need be, and we're able to get you at least get out of here as soon as possible. So if you have any questions, we will be here. Don't hesitate to ask.
Am I going to get like a card or anything?
Yes.
You guys?
I'll give you that. And I'll give you the case number as well. It's
Okay.
it should be somewhat listed on there, but sometimes it isn't on the warrant, so make sure. Alright, so case number. And I know you indicated that you would want to speak with a lawyer, so if you give them my information, they can speak with me directly.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, I will go ahead and let them in here, and then, like I said, we'll just do some follow-up so you kind of know what our timeline is as we're kind of moving along.
Although Jaylen's cooperation waned in the latter part of the interview, the detectives appeared to have gathered substantial evidence to proceed with their investigation. The investigators were able to continue with the investigation. However, all evidence pointed to Jaylen. In the end, the San Diego Sheriff's deputy pleaded guilty to 20 misdemeanor charges involving misconduct with a young person and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Then there's the case of Daniel Holtzclaw, the former Oklahoma City police officer accused of multiple counts of misconduct while on duty.
When you went home, was anybody home?
My girlfriend was home. We almost had sex, and she was tired, so my went around her. And
I just talked to Karen.
okay.
She said she was asleep when you got home and you did not try to have, and you did not have.
In 2014, multiple women, all black, came forward accusing a decorated police officer, Daniel Holtzclaw, of non-consensual physical misconduct. Holtzclaw, a former Oklahoma City police officer, preyed on vulnerable women. His victims were African-American women in disadvantaged neighborhoods, chosen for their perceived lack of credibility and criminal history. These accusations had broken a fundamental trust. The badge, once a symbol of security, now cast a shadow of suspicion. The answer, it seemed, might lie within the confines of the small windowless interrogation room at the Oklahoma City Police Department headquarters. Here, Detective Kim Davis, a seasoned investigator known for her empathy, and Detective Rocky Gregory, a no-nonsense cop with a sharp eye for detail, would face off against Holtzclaw.
Okay, look, just like we talked in the car. You haven't heard any rumors?
I haven't heard any rumors.
So
when I walked in the station, I see Captain leaned over, not unusual. I got Captain Clifton, hey, but then I've seen you in the cab, I've never seen you, and so.
Well, nobody.
But I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
So I'm just like anything.
You had said, and we told you that there was a traffic stop,
Right.
that somebody made some allegations against an officer.
Right.
They don't know the officer's name, none of that. And you said that you made a traffic stop after work,
Yeah.
but you didn't call it in.
I didn't call it.
Where was that?
It was about Northeast 50th and Lincoln, just to the west.
Okay.
Notice the dynamic. Davis tries to establish rapport while Gregory observes Holtzclaw's every move, every word, every gesture could be a clue. Initially, the detectives used a conversational tone, attempting to put Holtzclaw at ease. This is a common tactic to lower the suspect's defenses. The detectives played their cards very carefully. They started with a seemingly straightforward case and watched Holtzclaw's reaction, waiting for a hint of a crack in his story.
Tell me about that stop.
I was going westbound on Northeast 50th, probably a block just east of Lincoln. I see a red Grand Prix, or Grand Am, in my right lane, in the outside lane. I'm in the inside lane. The car swerves, and so at the time I'm thinking, okay, it's probably a drunk person, or maybe got excited because they saw a cop. So I kind of fall behind it, kind of drifting just a little bit, not crossing lane lines, nothing crazy. So I lighted up because at first the traffic violation I saw at first when it swerved. That was just west of Northeast 50th and Lincoln. And then made contact. It was a black female. Asked for license insurance. Stated that she didn't have insurance. Gave me an ID. At the time I'm like, do you have a valid insurance or a valid license? She said no. I told her I just got off work. I mean, what's the deal? You know, why are you swerving? And she says, I'm just trying to go home to Ann Arbor-ish on the northwest side to see her daughter or something like that. So I asked, is there anything on board as far as the vehicle? Is it okay if I search your vehicle and whatnot? She said, the only thing that's inside there is a Kool-Aid cup. I'm like, is there anything inside of that Kool-Aid? Is there liquor or anything inside that Kool-Aid? She's no. I'm like, okay, is there anything else inside there? She says there's I'm like, is that the only thing? And then, so I said, you have permission to search your car? She said, yes. I go inside the car, I see a lot of but
What kind of pills?
I didn't really...
Like scatter or in a bottle?
She said
pill?
it's hydrocodone, but I just quickly looked at it, and I think I saw her name on the prescription bottle, so I didn't...
Oh, so it was a bottle.
Right.
Okay.
There were several bottles in her purse. And then, so at that time, I just returned back to her. It's like, okay, I saw your pills. I didn't see any alcohol. I sniffed the drink, didn't smell any alcohol in the Kool-Aid. I'm like, okay, I'm just off work. I'm tired. Get your license taken care of. Just mine.
So she didn't have a driver's license?
She didn't have a driver's license, and I was just like, go to DPS, Department of Public Safety on King, get that taken care of, and I cut her loose after that.
Okay. Then where'd you go?
I went straight home.
The questioning continued with general inquiries about Holtzclaw's work routine that day, slowly progressing to more specific and incriminating topics.
Did you run her on your MDT?
No, I didn't. All my stuff as far as that, because I didn't even call it in and say it was a traffic stop, my computer was off and everything as well.
Did you shut it off?
I just shut it
after
off,
work?
yeah. On the way, on 50th, I turned it off right before the traffic stop, basically.
Okay. And where did you pick her up? 50th and what about?
50th and Lincoln, just to the west.
But no, where'd you see her swerve, kind of?
I say a block just to the east of Lincoln and 50th.
Okay. She pull over right away?
She was in the right lane and the outside lane when I saw her swerve. And so she saw a police car right there, and so she kind of did what everyone does, slow down. Kind of, okay, is he going to pull me over or not? And then I lit her up about 50th and Lincoln, past the intersection to the west.
Okay. When you put her in your car, did you pat search her?
When I came here, I was like, lift up your shirt. Is there anything on you? Anything as far as your waistband or anything like that? She said no. And then I put her in the vehicle and went from there. Asked her everything.
Did your hands go on her at all?
I backhanded her on as far as the side.
Where on her body? Tell me. You
Her
backhanded
waist, and the back portion. I didn't touch her butt or anything, but the back portion of the waist. And then she lifted it up like right here, and there's nothing.
Did she
on
lift it up like this?
No.
Okay. So she never, like, went, whoo, nothing,
No.
exposed her breasts or anything like that?
She asked me if I was like, no, it's okay.
She asked you,
If you want to search me, I'm like, no, it's okay.
so she never, like, put her hands on the car and you...
No.
Okay. Okay. Where was she positioned or standing when you did the back of your hand on her?
It was about probably the front right fender of my patrol vehicle.
But was she facing you or was she turned?
No, she was facing away from me.
And you just kind of did it like
Yeah,
this?
back there, yes.
Okay. Did your hand go on her butt or anything?
No, that's not what I was saying. It was the hip, the side, not the butt section.
What about right here?
No.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
They can tuck a gun
That's
right here.
why I asked to lift it up.
Oh, so she just kind of showed you her belly?
Right.
Okay. Then you talked to her for a little bit.
Right.
After you searched her, you put her in the back of the car.
Right.
Then we used to always kind of keep the door open and talk when they're not like combative or anything. Did you talk to her and get information then while she was in the back of your car?
Right. I talked to her for a little bit, just as far as what's inside the vehicle. Can I have consent to search your vehicle? Is there anything in that Kool-Aid? She said no. Just talking to her, what's the deal? Why are you driving late at 2 o'clock at night? Why did you swerve? Said she's going to Ann Arbor over the northwest side to visit her daughter, I believe. So.
As pressure mounted, Holtzclaw displayed signs of stress, including sighing, particularly when confronted with specific allegations.
Do you recall putting your in her mouth?
I don't.
Would you recall that if you did it?
If I did it, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think you really, in all honesty, you need to really double think about this. I mean, I got to be honest with you. It doesn't look really good.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, in what you originally thought, detectives just don't roll up in there for no reason.
Right.
Okay. And we just didn't pick you out. Okay.
Right.
I mean, there's a whole lineup there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there's definitely enough here to bring you in here to start questioning you.
Right.
Okay. We knew you were on that stop.
Right.
We knew you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And we can watch a whole lot of actions being performed while you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's why she was trying to give you every out on the whole booby thing.
Right.
Okay. Now, is there any reason at all even from whatever angle, because, you know, it takes it a little bit to clear up those videos.
Right.
But any reason why your would be out?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Now, in doing this, you know how SANE exams work, and I ain't got to explain about DNA or anything like that.
Right.
Now, I didn't say you had cancer.
Right.
Okay. But getting a job, okay, that is a different story.
Right.
Okay. You see my concern here.
I'm just listening to you, sir.
I
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
but I'd rather listen to you and you start talking.
That's all I have, sir.
Are we gonna get something from the SANE exam?
Go with the SANE exam.
Do you understand that you don't have to full-blown ejaculate to get something out of the SANE exam?
Right.
We can get skin cells, we can get pre-ejaculate, we can do all that and still get DNA.
Right.
And did your go in her mouth?
No, it did not.
As the interrogation progressed, detectives became more determined to get to the bottom of it, directly challenging Holtzclaw's statements and pointing out inconsistencies. Little did Holtzclaw know he was on a self-incriminating path.
So we have no misunderstanding because, and maybe I didn't key in on some things. I want you to, you turn in your activity card, walk me through it all again.
Turn my activity card. I leave out station. I go take a right, go northbound on Prospect, all the way to 50th. About that time, turn off my computer, done for the night, head left to go westbound on 50th
Okay.
from Prospect. About a block down, I see a Grand Prix in the outside lane. I was in the inside lane, directly in front of me. Car swerved. At that time, I kind of fall behind of it. Initially, it lighted up till we hit about 50th and Lincoln. I didn't want to light it up at the stop sign, so I waited till it go forward. And just lit it up just to the west, and then that's when I made the traffic stop.
Okay, walk me through the stop.
Holtzclaw maintained his innocence, but his explanation seemed almost rehearsed. His voice, devoid of emotion, could be a sign of practiced deflection. It was at this point that Detective Kim Davis identified the first loophole.
Did, why'd you log off?
I always log off.
Aren't you supposed to stay logged on until you get home?
I always log off.
Do you keep your police radio on when you go home?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think
you're
I
listening.
think I had my radio on. Yes.
Do sometimes you turn them off?
Yeah, I do.
That's not good officer safety. What if you drive by an armed robbery?
That's true too. Yeah.
I mean, or what if you drive by an officer that needs backup and you're
That's
right
right.
there and you didn't hear it?
That's right.
I'll give you my mommy lecture. So you always log off when you're done?
Majority of the time, yes.
Okay.
Holtzclaw confirmed turning off his body camera during the alleged incident. Turning off body cameras during police interactions is a major red flag. More often than not, it's mostly an attempt to hide misconduct, and understanding this, the detectives pressed further. They pointed out discrepancies in Holtzclaw's story, like the deactivated body camera during the traffic stop. They strategically asked questions that would make Holtzclaw think about the evidence, to undermine his credibility and encourage truthful responses.
Did your pants come unzipped, unbuttoned, anything while you were standing right there?
No.
CSI is processing your car right now.
Right.
And when we stepped out, they found some pubic hairs right in here. Could they be yours?
No, that's not. I didn't pull my out. I didn't do anything right there.
Did she?
No.
But do you think they could be?
No, it's not. No. Nothing online.
Your pubes couldn't be
No.
right there?
No.
Has your ever been out by your car?
While I'm working? No.
Not working.
No.
Have you ever had in the backseat of your
I
car?
have not.
Because I mean, some people do. You know, I mean, I'm not saying for consensual.
Right.
So your has never been in your backseat.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible any of this DNA shares?
No. It's not. That's. I would like to go at it. Not my DNA.
Are those pubes going to be yours?
No. No.
Are you worried about it?
Investigators often employed prolonged silences after Holtzclaw's answers, a technique designed to make the suspect uncomfortable and potentially offer more information. However, Holtzclaw stumbled. His explanations lacked coherence.
A thing that kind of concerns me is everything you're telling me is on to what she says. Everything. Except the stuff.
Nothing was done as far as that. Nothing.
She smelled anything else besides alcohol?
Just a little bit, like I said, when I was in this car seat. But I asked her if anything else was on board. She just said,
Did she smell, though, like weed
not
or?
PCP or anything distinct that I would smell.
Right.
I didn't smell any inside the car. I didn't smell any weed on her person. That's about it.
Okay.
Got any questions?
I'm just bombarded with questions. But
I know. Do you have any? Do you want to bombard us with any questions?
At times, investigators downplayed the severity of the allegations, suggesting that coming clean would lead to a better outcome. A tactic aimed at encouraging confession. Then came the turning point. The detectives delivered a carefully placed blow. They presented evidence that contradicted Holtzclaw.
Thank you.
The gal I was talking about, that Terry Morris, the other person, okay, who's saying the same thing, okay. They say it was downtown, she was walking, okay, so when I say stop, that's, you see,
Right.
like a voluntary contact.
Right.
Okay, here, think of a cross between, this is one picture, and this is her. She look familiar?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Now, you stopped her, for sure, and ran here
Okay.
on a different day. It was May 8th. Okay. You sure she doesn't look familiar at all? Now, when you stopped her, over at the Liberty apartment area, okay, that's where you stopped her on May 8th.
Okay.
Okay. Now, does that ring a bell at all?
No, never.
Okay. All right. Now, you ran her then. Okay. Now, she says that you stopped her later on, like I say, later on in the month. There's more kind of a downtown area. Does that ring a bell at all?
I don't recall any of those pictures. I don't recall any of that.
Okay.
I don't ever go downtown besides if I go to the gas station or county or.
Off-duty jobs. Where do you work off-duty?
I don't have an off-duty. All I have is courtesy officer at my apartment.
Okay. So besides the Bolero and
Maybe
county?
Viper here and there. Maybe.
Okay.
That's within our
Where do you?
on duty.
But you're running Viper out of Spring Lake.
Out of Spring Lake.
Okay. All right. You ever, with your car, you ever go visit anybody, any buddies, anything like that, or
No.
shopping, anything?
No.
Okay. Why would, and granted, you're not even recalling her on the May 8th,
Right.
okay? But I just wanted you to have a frame of mind of who's making these statements against you. And it's the exact same thing, too, You stop her, have her sit in the back seat, run for warrants, then you have her get her out, okay? Unzip the pants. I mean, on and on and on. We can go through.
I mean, it's
to a T.
it's
of this
exactly
one.
the same.
Yeah. I don't recall any of those people. I don't think I recognize those people.
Okay,
What if you
this is
could
the same
recall?
one. This is the same one. I'm just showing you a picture.
Of how she's changed.
Yeah, this has changed. Okay?
That's the same girl.
It's two different time periods, but she looks kind of in between. It's the same girl.
Okay.
Okay. Still nothing, even vaguely. She's always on the northeast side. 23rd and Kelly. 36. Kelly. All right. But she described you to a T.
Holtzclaw's carefully constructed facade seemed to change for a moment. Small changes in behavior can be very telling. A hint of surprise and a shift in eye contact. Well, these can all be signs of potential deception.
How long do you usually take on a traffic stop, just on average?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Now,
That's a long
maybe.
time.
Now,
Maybe.
20 minutes, and I'll give it to you. Just even doing the gang stuff and all that, okay. 20 minutes, now that's going to be some 800 time, right?
800, searching the car in detail, all of that.
Okay, so doing all of that, all the running, waiting in line, and even on a search. Now, the question I have is, we got a lapse of time here, so I'm kind of get a better handle on where the time went. You're talking about 15 minutes, no 800, no running on the computer, you shut it down. And you said it was just a quick little search of the car. Where's the rest of that time?
Just talking to her.
About what?
Just see
I
where
mean,
you're
she's-
going. Actually just trying to get her to confess, are you drunk or not? Like, are you been drinking? Because I could smell it when I was in the car, but I can't really get it.
Well, what if she just said, yes, I'm drunk?
I probably would have took her down.
Did you do any tests?
I didn't do any sobriety tests. Just from inside the car, smelling it, and that's about it. Emotional, maybe.
But even that'd be just within a minute or two. I mean, I used to be DRE, so I know how long those questions will last. So then you switch on over. But nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. So I didn't hear a lot of drunk questions, like how much did
Have
you...
you been drinking? Mainly it's just, have you been drinking? Try to get her confessed. Is there anything inside that juice? No. Why are you driving so late at 2 o'clock? I don't know. Where are you going? Going to Arbor on the west side. Who are you going to see? Just trying to just talk to her. But
Okay, right there, those questions maybe took 40 seconds. 15 minutes?
And you said 5 at the car. So then we got 10 of a lot of questions.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you tell me I wasn't there. I mean, obviously I don't have any audio.
And that's what I'm saying. Roughly on a traffic stop, take about 20 minutes. It was the quickest traffic stop, about 15 minutes.
That's your quickest traffic stop?
No.
Okay, you're a
not my
slowpoke.
I'm not. I don't really get 1090 at all or anything like that. But I take my time sometimes.
But you didn't write her tickets.
Didn't write her ticket.
You didn't run her.
Didn't run her.
You didn't even put yourself out.
Didn't put myself out.
How could you take 15 minutes on that?
Just talking. I must have been talking. So that's it.
The detectives capitalized on this momentary lapse. They pressed harder, their questions becoming even more pointed and in tone more assertive.
I can't see her wanting to talk if she's crying and asking if you're going to shoot her and all this. I don't see her being real forthcoming with conversation.
Whether my questions or whatnot, that's it.
I mean, you don't seem... I mean, I don't know how you were out there, but just kind of talking with you. I mean, you seem real laid back and everything like that. I've never got the impression of just kind of an angry type cop. We know some,
Right.
That, you might would ask, but I don't see that question coming up of you. And you're not saying she was drunk or high, or
I didn't think she was drunk over legal limit of .08, and like I said, I didn't make any threats to her. She was just emotional because maybe the deal, or she saw a cop and
What
she just
gun deal?
she said, you gotta. So I was like, calm down.
Duh, everybody is.
Yeah, and so I guess she brought that up, and I was like, calm down.
When she asked about what point did she ask that?
She asked that right when we were searching the passage and when we were in the back of the car.
So she brought it up twice?
Twice.
She just says, you got a or what?
Yeah, and then starts crying, and I'm like, don't get emotional, it's okay.
Did she ever say, you shouldn't do this?
No.
Or I can't do this?
No.
She just says, you got a
You got a gun.
Are you going to shoot me?
And then I don't think she ever said that.
No, you said last time. I said, did she?
Maybe she
say-
said that, but then I was like, do you have any bad runs in with the cops? And she's like, no.
That just doesn't fit. That's just weird.
And that's what I'm kind of in there too. I don't know if I didn't think she was, but I know there's on board. I don't know. So it wasn't to the point.
Do you carry a Glock? Oh, you
I
don't
do,
have it
yeah.
on. I didn't pay attention. The one you got in the academy.
Yes.
What else you taking besides that pro hormone?
It's about creatine.
What in the creatine?
Just creatine, monohydrate. I don't know exact ingredients in it.
But I'm saying, is it in something? I mean, is it like an intro workout, a pre-workout?
Yeah,
You're taking
pre-workouts are in creatine.
The final nail was about to be hammered into the coffin as he maintained his denials, but his voice seemed strained and his confidence was waning. The detectives now decided to lay the setup.
Okay. Who all was home when you got home?
My girlfriend, Carrie Hunt.
You live with anybody else?
No, I don't.
Is she a policeman?
No, she's not.
Carrie Hunt?
Carrie Hunt.
What's her number?
Can you go through my phone?
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to get her involved.
We're not gonna tell her what's going on, but we are
You
gonna.
tell her whatever you want to.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
Her number is going to be 918.
Does she work? Are we gonna, if we
She
call?
does work.
Does she
works
work now?
normal 8 to 5 hours, Monday through Friday.
Where does she work?
At a Crest and Oil Memorial in MacArthur area, around there.
We're getting those tie back so you
Don't call her.
The detectives proceeded to call her, but unbeknownst to Holtzclaw, his story was now beginning to fall apart.
You created some more work. We were fixing to go. I just talked to Carrie.
Okay.
She said she was asleep when you got home, and you did not try to have, and you did not have.
They try to have sex.
She says you didn't. And I asked her, could you have been asleep? And you kind of, whoa, no. And she said no. You did not try to have.
As much as I don't want to involve her, I try to have sex with her and she was asleep. Carrie goes to sleep pretty early, about 9, 10 at the late.
Okay, but she would know if you tried. I'm a woman.
I know.
And my husband comes home in the middle of the night, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been asleep. You said you twirled around her
I did.
and you put it in a little bit, and then she said, I'm tired. No.
I did.
She would remember that to tell me.
Shoot. Maybe.
She said you did not try to have.
And it's more personal because it's Carrie, but I did try to have sex with Carrie. I did.
I don't know what to say. I mean, because it just looks like I just caught you in a lie, and now I don't know what to believe.
I'm telling you.
I don't know what to believe
Okay.
because you tell me this, I go to verify it. She tells me the opposite, and now I'm wondering what you're telling the truth about.
Maybe because she doesn't know what the heck's going on.
No, she doesn't. I didn't tell her.
And I'm glad, but detectives calling her, any other officer asking her a question like that.
I know.
As the interrogation progresses, fatigue starts to set in. This can lead to inconsistencies and a decline in the ability to maintain a fabricated story. And this was the case for Holtzclaw, his voice now lacking its earlier conviction.
She may be scared. And I don't want to involve her, but
She's involved
that's
because
my
you
girlfriend. That's like,
you need her involved for you.
right.
But now she's given the story that you're not given.
I'm telling you, I try to have sex with Carrie, my girlfriend.
She
Yeah,
is
that
going to
shit
remember your weenie twirling around her hoo-ha. You remember that. I'm sorry, I don't care how much of a sleeper you are. You remember because it pisses you off in the middle of the night and you go, are you serious? Don't bother me with that.
Maybe you should call her and ask her if she's a deep sleeper. Because there's multiple times I've tried to do that. Multiple times we've had. Multiple times she has pushed me
Well,
off.
you told me that you have sex every day, and she says you did not have sex today.
We didn't have sex today. No. We didn't.
Well, you said you have sex every day.
Mostly every day, yes.
So if I call her back, is she going to tell me that you'll
But
have
we
sex
did
every
not-
day?
We did not have sex. But recently, mostly every day, yeah.
I'm a woman, and I know what it feels like to be woke up for sex, and I don't like that. And you remember it, and I don't believe you.
I'm telling you the truth. I'm sorry. I tried to have sex with my girlfriend. I did.
I don't know. You're a dude. Does your wife get
I could-
pissed off if you try to wake her up in the middle of the
She
night?
had white thong on and a t-shirt. And
Okay, you talk to him. I'm gonna go call her again.
Okay.
Because right now, I don't believe it.
Despite his failing defenses, Holtzclaw never confessed in the interrogation room. However, the detectives had gathered enough evidence to move forward. Following the interrogation, Daniel Holtzclaw was placed on administrative leave with pay. Not long after, a community erupted in protest, demanding justice for the victims. After a lengthy and emotional trial, Daniel Holtzclaw was found guilty on multiple counts of illegal exploitation involving intimate and inappropriate misconduct. In the end, he was held accountable for his crimes and sentenced to 263 years in prison. Then there's the case of this former politician, Ralph Shorty, accused of soliciting a young individual for pleasure.
How much stuff had you guys done together?
Nothing.
If that's not you, how did you contact him last night? Or that night?
I think he called me.
He didn't have a phone.
Oh,
How did he know that you were outside?
He called me, and I told him I was on my way.
Ralph Shorty, a former Oklahoma state senator, was involved in a series of serious crimes. His crimes came to light in March 2017 when he was discovered with a 17-year-old boy in a motel room. Prior to this, he had engaged in explicit conversations with the boy, discussing the exchange of money for inappropriate activities. In addition, he was creating and distributing inappropriate content involving young ones. Specifically, he used his smartphone to share inappropriate videos involving them, and he persuaded them also to send explicit images. The interrogation took place in a small room where detectives aimed to uncover the truth behind Shorty's actions. The detectives began with a conversational tone, establishing rapport while gathering basic information.
First off, free to go anytime you want. You can stop talking to us anytime you want. No big deal. Just say, hey, I'm done talking, and we're done talking, okay? And we'll let you out. Let us know if you have any lightness, head, anything like that. Any medical attention, we'll get you out of here and get it for you real quick. Alright, so just so I know, what's your last name again?
Shorty.
Spell it for me.
Shortey.
What's your first name?
Ralph.
Middle?
Allen Lee. Allenlee.
What's your birthday?
February 16th, 82.
Yeah, home address?
2105 Southwest 64th.
Oh, see.
Mm-hmm.
What's your phone number?
405-219-9346.
9346.
Uh-huh.
Alright. Well, like I said, you're on the phone. I guess, had some officers contact you at Super 8 on March the 9th, I think it was, real early in the morning.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And so, that's what we're here to talk about. Why don't you tell me what transpired there?
Now, this is a common tactic to put the subject at ease and try to lower the defenses. As they dug into the events of March the 9th, Shorty provided his initial account, claiming ignorance of the young man's age.
Well, we were inside talking, and we heard a bang on the door. I honestly didn't know who it was. Couldn't see through the keyhole or the peephole. And so, the young man I was with, I know has. I've known him for, we've been talking, he's come to the coffee shop that I operate a couple times. I've even had one at my house, played video games before. Had no idea, told me when I first met him that he was 20. And so when they first got there, I didn't know what the issue was. Didn't know if it was, somebody trying to get in or what.
Mm-hmm.
So, I asked them, they said it was a wellness check or something like that, and I said, hey, I'm fine. And they were persistent, and then I could finally see a badge on one of them. And then they said that there was a minor inside the room. Obviously, I had no idea when I first met this young man. He told me he was 20 years old. Like I said, we've been talking on the phone for a while. He, in fact, for a few months, even told me that he went to California to try to get in the music industry or something. So that was when I opened the door. It just didn't make any sense to me why, there'd be
Police there.
Actually, what I asked him was, I said, are you minor? And he said, no, let me go talk to them. And I said, okay. And he went out there, and that's, I don't know what they talked about, but I asked him to check his ID. So again, I'd never even thought to ask him for his ID. There's no reason to. So anyway, I guess after that, one of the men, Sergeant something, I can't remember his last name, he's bald, he lectured me quite a deal. At that point, I was, again, blood pressure. I had to sit down, couldn't even really, I don't even honestly remember what I said to him. A little bit, I think. And I just needed to not have a stroke.
The questioning continued with general inquiries about Shorty's relationship with the minor, slowly progressing to more specific and incriminating topics.
So I was caught off guard by that. I think they asked me at some point if they could search the room. I had my computer bag with me, and one of the men searched my computer bag as well as the room. As far as I know, there was nothing found. So that was that.
Okay. So they said pardon me. They said they smelled weed in the room. Were y'all smoking weed or anything?
I was not smoking weed.
Was there any in there?
No.
Okay.
And again, I asked them to search. They wanted to search my bag. So I don't remember. I think he needed a place to stay for the night. And I think he had a bag with him. I don't know if they searched that.
Okay.
I did not.
So did you stay there all night after the cops left? Or?
No, I left a little while later.
About what time?
I have no idea.
Okay. But you didn't stay until in the morning?
I wanted to make sure that I was okay to leave.
Okay.
And that was off.
So you say how long you known the guy?
It's been definitely over a year.
Okay. What do you know him by? What's his name? You know his last name? No, honestly, I don't remember. He's been over to my coffee shop a couple times. I know that he had been arrested for drug dealing in the past. I know that he had dropped out of high school. He was trying to get a GED. I was trying to help him through that. In fact, when we first met, I was trying to help him study and things like that for the GED. And then when I lost contact with him for 4 or 5 months, when he went to California or wherever, I just assumed that he had, I didn't know that's where he went.
The detective played their cards carefully, watching for any cracks in Shorty's story. A significant turning point came when the investigators presented evidence from the minor's tablet, including explicit conversations on the Kik app.
On his tablet, he has a conversation that he says he had with you using an app called Kik. You know what that is? Okay. Well, there's a pretty lengthy conversation on his tablet that he says is with a guy that is you, that he that is online, or the Kik ID is Jamie Tilley, and you told the officers that night that that's what your online.
He calls me Jamie, and I'm not sure why.
Okay. And anyways, so we've got a conversation between him and this Jamie Tilley about, he says, I need money for spring break. Jamie Tilley says, I don't really have any legitimate things I need help with right now. Would you be interested in stuff? He says, yes. This goes on about how I come get you, blah, blah, blah. We go on. He says, he starts calling this guy Daddy. He says, hurry up, Daddy. I'm super horny.
Shorty's demeanor began to change as he was confronted with this evidence. As pressure mounted, Shorty displayed signs of stress, particularly when faced with specific allegations and witness testimony.
We've got a witness, pardon me, we've got a witness that sees him get in a white Grand Cherokee, and they follow that white Grand Cherokee to the hotel, first to 4th and Eastern at the gas station, and then to the Circle K. Yeah,
This is the gas station.
Yeah, at the gas station, and then to the Super 8 where the guy in the white Jeep Cherokee and him go in, check into a room, and then go back out and go into room 120.
His explanations became less coherent, a potential sign of deception.
It's not cheating. Okay.
We communicated by phone. There was no intentions that night.
Okay. So how did you meet?
I want to say it was at our coffee shop.
Okay. So Like he just walks in, you guys strike up a conversation, become friends,
Yeah, it's happened many times.
invite over to your house. Has your wife met him?
I think so.
Okay. Now, you said he's come to your house several times to play video games.
I think just once.
Come to your house once to play video games, and then you guys met at the coffee shop a couple of times.
Mhm.
Okay. What if I said that he told you you guys met through a Craigslist ad the very first time when he posted in Casual Encounters?
No.
Okay.
Well, in this,
Can I ask, is he legitimately underage?
yeah,
And he was the first time that you met him, and I said,
16.
I asked him, I said, hey, does he know how old you were? And he said, yeah, he knows because we had a discussion about it, and at first he was uncomfortable with it, but then he finally got over it.
The detectives became even more assertive, directly challenging Shorty's statements and pointing out inconsistencies.
So he's telling me that when he first met you through Craigslist, that he had posted an ad in Casual Encounters, and that he had a lot of responses for it, but that you said that you wanted him to mess around with your wife while you watched. He said that he showed up to do that, or you guys got together and started talking about that. He found out your wife was pregnant, and then said that it never happened because she was pregnant. So here's the deal, Ralph. You and I both know what the truth is, and the truth is not what you're telling us. We're not saying you're a bad guy. We're not saying you set out thinking that this is some 15-year-old kid you're going to go bang. We're not saying that. We're saying, hell, maybe you didn't know how old he was. I don't know. I think you probably did based on what he's telling me, but things are what they are. Tell us the truth. Get it out there. Let's get this over with, get this behind us so we can all move on.
I'm telling you that.
No, you're not. You're telling us part of what happened, but you're not telling us what's going on.
You told the officers there that you had an online identity of Jamie.
He's talking about, you talk about in these texts when this Kick account, about your kids and your kid being sick and your coffee shop and that you got customers left and that you close at 8. I mean, it's clearly you. It's clearly
And
you.
we've got a witness that put you there. When you say,
I absolutely picked him up.
when you say I'm here, the witness is waiting down the street because she thought it was jacked up.
They strategically asked questions that forced Shorty to think about the evidence, aiming to undermine his credibility and encourage truthful responses. A key moment occurred when Shorty claimed to have lost his phone.
So how did you, if that's not you, how did you contact him last night, or that night?
I think he called me.
He doesn't have a phone.
Sir, he called me. That's all I can say. I don't know.
How did he know that you were outside?
He called me, and I told him I was on my way. I told him I'd be there at a certain amount of time, and I got there.
Did you use this phone that you've lost?
I think it's the only phone I had.
Okay. What was that number?
265.
Of the phone that you lost?
Oh no, my phone was the number I gave you earlier. That's my cell phone.
And that's the one that's lost?
Well, I use Hangouts for Google numbers. I've always used them for all of my businesses, and so it would have been 265. I can't remember the last four.
Explain that to me. What does that mean? Like when you, it's like when you call him or he calls you on this 265 number,
Yeah.
and that goes to your cell phone
Mm-hmm.
via Google Hangouts,
Yeah, it was like it's a forwarded number.
a Google Voice number.
No, it goes directly to my number.
Okay. And so you called him back and said, "I'm here."
Right.
Okay. And what number would you
Well,
call?
I think I just told him I'd be there in 20 minutes or whatever.
And then he saw you when you got down the street. Okay.
Well, as far as I know, you keep saying down the street. I went to the house that he told me to go to.
What house is that?
Address.
You remember?
90, maybe 912, 916, something like that.
Okay.
Lucidin or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. And that's where he told me to meet him. And I'm trying to think of. I called him when I got there. I don't think I did. No, I didn't because I saw him on the porch.
Okay.
The detectives found this highly suspicious, recognizing it as a potential attempt to hide evidence. They pressed further on this point. As the interrogation progressed, fatigue began to set in. Now, this led to inconsistencies and a decline in the ability to maintain this fabricated story. The detectives capitalized on this, becoming more determined to get to the bottom of the situation.
So basically, all that can happen is, at this point is that we get more evidence about what's going on. Because there's nowhere to go from here. But more to add to it.
I can find. I know you guys don't believe me, and I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise unless I have something to show you, and I just don't know.
I find it hard to believe that you magically lost your phone on the way over here as well.
It's not the first time, sir.
Well, and just look at it. Okay, take all this crap in this conversation that we've had out of it. All right. So just put yourself in my shoes. Okay. So you got a guy who gets caught in a room with a minor, or in a hotel room with a minor, and he comes in and talks to us, knowing that he's had a conversation with this minor on an electronic device. All right, probably his phone, because of the way he was at the store, he was at the guy's store, he was in his car. So more than likely, it was on his phone. So you're coming in blind, not knowing
Also extremely nervous.
Well, I got you. I know, but put yourself in my shoes. You're coming in this blind, only knowing that we're going to want to talk to you about, the hotel room, and all of a sudden you come in and you don't have a phone, and I know you live with your phone. You have to. So that's just strange to us,
Is your phone on you right now?
No, it's not.
Is it in your car?
No.
Can I look at your car?
Sure.
Okay.
When did you drive up here today?
Sorry.
When did you drive up here today?
When?
What vehicle did you drive up here?
My car.
What is your
The Jeep.
Oh, the white Jeep. Correct, Cherokee? What year is it?
I don't know, 99, 01, something like that.
Have you talked to him since that night?
No. I honestly would have loved to have talked to his parents. I had no idea that he was still with his parents. I wouldn't have been with a minor.
In a final push for a confession, the detectives employed a tactic of minimization, suggesting that Shorty simply made a bad decision rather than being a bad person.
Sexual contact in the past, does he allege that?
He said you guys kissed.
When?
Before May of last year.
I mean, that's nothing, but still, that's never happened either.
Just like Jamie Tilley's not you. Just like it's somebody else with kids and daughters in a coffee shop. Somebody else who's there. And you made a bad decision. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you made a bad decision. It's not the end of the world.
And if I can't prove otherwise, it is the end of the world. And I can't think of any other proof that I can show you.
There's nothing, because there's no.
There absolutely would be.
What we have is the truth.
If I had phone calls, or if I had.
But you don't, because they don't exist. What we have is the truth. You know it. You know
I
that.
never would have thought to have to record a phone call or anything with a guy. I mean,
It was recorded. That's what we've got pictures of. The conversation was recorded. I mean, that is so clearly you. You and I both know that's you. Anyone we show that to is going to know that's you.
Well, that's the problem.
It's not a problem. It's the truth. What I'm saying is the problem is that for some reason you think that if you stick your head in the sand and ignore it, it's going to go away. It's not. Your best bet is to tell us the truth, tell us what happened, and then move on from this. Make this a bump in the road, not the road. I mean, it's that simple, really.
This is not a defining moment. This is just a moment. No, this is you've had other things happen in your life that were awful at the time, and then now that you look back at them, they're still awful, but they didn't change who you were. It's a bump. That's all it is. It doesn't change the fact that you're a good person, that you care about your family. None of that changes.
This approach aimed to make it easier for the senator to admit to his actions. Despite the mounting evidence and prolonged questioning, Shorty maintained his denial throughout the interrogation. However, the detectives have gathered significant evidence to move forward with the case.
I can't think of anything else. And no phone on you, no phone in your car? Do you mind if I pat you down real quick?
No, I said, hell, I should have said that before you sat down. I'll walk down in the car with you.
Following the interrogation, Shorty was eventually charged and later pleaded guilty to illegal exploitation. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison, demonstrating the serious consequences of his actions. Next is the case of Jeffrey Pelo, a former police officer facing allegations of non-consensual physical misconduct.
We don't walk around at 12:30 at night in the morning, walking in between the houses.
I wouldn't walk between the houses. I was by the I couldn't keep going, so I walked up between the houses. I'm buying my mother-in-law a house. She lives up in Ridley.
Pelo, a police officer who was expected to uphold the law, instead exploited his police training to stalk and harass women, especially at night. Using his knowledge and authority, he gained access to the homes of several victims where he committed. For years, his actions went undetected until he was caught, prompting detectives to interrogate him to thoroughly understand the case. The interrogation took place in a small room where detectives aimed to uncover the truth. The detectives started by establishing rapport, but there was an underlying tension as they read Pelo his rights.
At this point, you're not free to go. At this point, I'm under arrest. If I'm not free to go, I'm under arrest. Well, we're in a custodial situation. That's why I'm going to read you your rights, right? Because you came down here in their car. I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know where we're going to go. What's going on? I don't even know what you're talking about. I understand that, Jeff, and you understand, just like I do, that I can't talk about anything until we get this little bit out. You have the right to remain silent. You can say human beings to you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have one present with you while you question. If you can afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any question if you wish. You can decide any time to exercise these rights, not answer questions or make any statements. Do you understand those rights I've explained? Yes, of course.
This seemingly routine procedure set up the gravity of the situation. Pelo provided his initial account, claiming he was innocently looking at houses in the area.
I want to hear what you have to say about it, and I'm really hoping there is a good explanation for it all. Did you meet up with the police officer last night?
You're talking about Zena.
Yes.
When I was walking around by the lake, looking at the lake down there. Again, I drove down there. I couldn't sleep. All right, houses come up for sale in that area all the time. I'm interested in buying my mother-in-law a house. She lives up in Ridley. She's poor. She's on fixed income. I wanted to move closer to us. Houses come for sale. There's a townhome right there for sale. It won't work, but anyway, I was looking to see what kind of access went down to that lake. That's all. Right, I was starting to walk around, parked, walked down, looked at the lake. When I was leaving,
Where'd you park it?
I don't know the name of the street.
But it wasn't right there where you were at.
It was by the lake. That lake goes behind those houses.
You know, you understand how difficult the situation this is for everyone involved, including yourself.
Really?
All
Yes,
right?
I understand.
And irregardless of what, you know, our feelings are towards each other and stuff, I think we've always got along. We've always been able to speak openly about that. There are just some things that happened last night that just doesn't add up. And you know, Jeff, you know, as a former investigator yourself, that there are things that we know,
However, the detective's careful questioning hinted at much deeper suspicions.
such as the way that you met him today. You know? I mean, you freaked him out. You freaked him out. Why would you be in between two houses?
Because
Looking at houses?
I couldn't keep going straight. There's a drainage thing that goes down the lake. I couldn't keep walking. So I walked up, the dog started barking, and oh hell. So I walked up between the houses, gonna go to the road. All right. He comes around, I thought maybe it was the homeowner. I was like, I don't want to startle, you know. He startled me, so I turned to walk back down. He said, stop, please. I was like, oh, hell, it's a cop. I turned around and walked back.
Jeff, what you know as being a police officer, that kind of thing is not within the norm. We don't, as police officers, we don't walk around at 12:30 at night in the morning, walking in between the houses.
I wouldn't walk between the houses. I was by the lake. I couldn't keep going, so I walked up between the houses. That's it. I mean, that is it. That's it.
Think about what you're telling me.
I am thinking about what I'm telling you, the truth. I went down there, looked, what kind of public access is down there? I walked, I started going to the west side, but there's fences and I was, oh hell, and I come back around the other way. All right, again, I can't go no further. There's a drainage thing that comes down and fills that like overflow, I guess, I don't know whatever it is. So I started, you know, the dog started barking, so I walked up between the houses, go up to the road, and yes, to be on the road, so I'm not walking up between, you know, it's just.
Wait a minute. But you weren't on the road until
I was going to the road. All right, that's where I was walking up to, was go up to the road. Walk down to my truck and drive away, because I was done looking at the lake. There's no access going down to the lake, so.
Okay, Jeff. We're past the point of you were there, right? You readily admit that you were there.
Yes.
In between those two houses.
Yes. All right, I was just walking from the lake up to the. Okay.
Why would a veteran officer be creeping around houses at midnight? A significant turning point came when the investigators presented evidence from the officer who confronted Pelo at the scene.
If you get a call of someone walking in between two houses at 12:30 in the morning,
I don't know what call brought him out there. Yes, of course.
Of course. I mean, the person who called this in has every right in the world to do this.
I have no idea who called it in. All right. What they called in wasn't me. All right. Dave said last night somebody knocked on somebody's door. I didn't knock on anybody's door. I didn't knock on anybody's door. I did not knock on anybody's door. I don't know what else you're trying to allege here. I don't want to jump to some kind of conclusion. Right? All this isn't about because I walked up from that lake up between those two houses.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know what else you're talking about.
We're talking about you standing up with your back to the house and trying not to be identified. Having your back up against the house and not trying to be seen as David walks by.
I was walking up. I saw someone coming, so I stopped. I turned to go back. Again, the dog's barking. I didn't want somebody to think I was doing something wrong. He said, "Stop, police." I was like, "Oh, hell." So I turned around and walked up to him. I wasn't standing with my back against no house.
Well, I think you're minimizing.
I'm not minimizing anything.
He said, "Stop, police." Wasn't there a little bit more than that?
No, that's what he said.
You didn't see the key pulled on
No,
You were unaware that he pulled a gun on you.
I did not know he did that. No, I did not.
Pelo's demeanor slowly shifted, suggesting that there was more to the story than he was letting on. As the interrogation progressed, the detectives slowly tightened the net. They challenged Pelo's statements about his movements between the houses.
You maybe hands with him?
Haven't you been? I mean,
I think I need to take it a step further.
okay.
Because the lady, scared to death. Scared to
I don't know nothing about the lady.
What I'm telling you is she was scared to death. She was an absolute basket case.
It wasn't for me.
What? Yes, you were in between the houses. You were in between the houses. What if this would have
I
happened?
walked up between the houses and Zeman was there. That's the one time I went between the houses.
What if this would have happened? Would you be a little bit concerned? Something to her?
But I don't understand what you're saying. The only time I walked between those two houses was when I was walking from the lake and up.
But that's where you and
That's when I met Zemer.
that's where you and Officer Zemer are different in what you said.
But whenever the lady was scared of, it wasn't me.
It was you.
How could it be? The one time I was between the houses, when I walked up and Zemer was there, she'd already called.
Jeff, Zemer had already been throughout the whole area. You were the only person there. It was 12:30 in the morning. It was 12:30 in the morning.
The only time I walked up between the houses, right, those two houses, was when Zemer came in. All right. I mean, I walked from the lake between the houses. There's Zemer. Obviously, I'm not the one scared of women because that's the only time I was there.
But you wanted out of there quick. You didn't stop and you said, I'm here looking. You think it.
His explanations became repetitive, a potential sign of deception. The detectives became more assertive, directly challenging Pelo's statements and pointing out inconsistencies.
Let's just run all the way down the line.
He's on a call. I'm not going to stay there and talk to him.
With you, Jeff. Think about it. I mean, it is just right down the line.
Right down what line?
I mean, he's called out there. All right. There's nobody else out there but you. This lady has someone prowling around her windows. She's a very attractive young lady.
It wasn't me. I wasn't prowling around anyone's windows. I wasn't prowling around at all. Again, when the dog's barking, I said, I need to go up by the road, and that's when I walked between the houses.
Well, what makes you decide to go look at a house at 12:30 in the morning?
I wasn't looking at the houses. I'm interested in a house in an area. I was looking at that lake. That is all. I mean, that's all. I realize.
I just.
Do anything wrong?
We as police officers and we as human beings know the difference between right and wrong. It is put in our head from
I understand.
day one.
All right. I did not walk between that. Again, the only time I walked between those two houses is when I was down at the lake. I can't do it. Okay. So I walked up to go up to the road. That's it. And when I walked up there, somebody comes running. All right.
What were you wearing?
T-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, and socks. Not flip-flops, sandals.
Okay. Did your T-shirt have any writing on it?
I don't remember what my shirt had on.
What color was your shirt?
Dark.
What about your shorts?
I think they were my black shorts.
Okay. Were you carrying anything else with you?
No.
They strategically asked questions that forced Pelo to think about the evidence, aiming to undermine his credibility. A key moment occurred when the detectives confronted Pelo about the victim's fear and his suspicious behavior.
Where we're getting at on this,
No, I don't.
you don't know what you're doing.
I'm talking about a young, very attractive female. I don't know who you're talking about. All right? She's the lady in one of those two houses. I don't know. I have no idea lives in either of those houses. I wasn't interested in those houses.
I'm sure you had no idea.
I wasn't interested in those houses.
You weren't interested in lake access. Come on, Jeff. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, that is just it doesn't make sense to anyone.
All right.
It doesn't make sense.
Again,
Does it?
yes, it makes sense to me because that's what I went there to do.
If I'm going to look at a lake access, I'm not going to do it.
All right. Poor choice of times, but that's why I did it. All right. I just walked down there.
What are you, 17 years?
Yeah,
17 years of being a police officer.
I understand.
And you don't think that is a severe error in judgment to be in between two houses at 12:30 in the morning?
All I was doing was walking from the lake to the road. All right. You're implying that I'm doing something mischievous between these houses, and all I'm doing is walking from the lake up to the road. That's it.
That's exactly what I'm implying.
That's it. That's all I'm
Because
doing.
Officer Zemer, who you agreed to, has no reason to lie about this, says that you were up against the house, and he had to call for you 3 different times.
No, you didn't follow me to the time.
And then you turned around and walked the other way. Okay?
When I saw the figure standing there, I was like, I just turned and walked back. All right.
What did he say to you then? When you turned around and he was walking back. What did he say to you then?
Stop, please.
And what else was he saying to you?
Stop, please.
Let me see your hands.
I don't recall everything he said. I just said, stop, please. I realized, where's the police? So I turned around and walked back. All right. I mean, if I had realized at first he was Officer Zemer, I'd have just kept walking right toward him. All right. But my initial thought was, it was someone that lived there. I was,
The detectives found his explanations highly unconvincing, recognizing them as potential attempts to try and hide the truth. As the interrogation progressed, Pelo's denials became more vehement. This can lead to inconsistencies and a decline in the ability to maintain a fabricated story. The detectives capitalized on this, becoming more determined to get to the truth.
I think we're getting 2 different ideas of what terrorizing somebody is. You keep on saying, I didn't do anything to that woman. I didn't do anything to anyone. Okay. I'm not saying that this person was, someone broke into their house or anything like that. All right. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that she was physically attacked or anything like that.
I'm glad nothing like that happened.
Right. However, but for a young female, having someone looking in her windows or trying her doors is
But I didn't do anything like that. All right? I didn't do anything like that.
Jeff.
I wouldn't do anything like that.
Jeff.
I simply looked at that lake, walked it between those houses. Right? If the spillway wouldn't have been there, I'd have walked around and. Right? Again, I did not do anything to anyone. I didn't do anything to anyone.
I know, that's what you're saying.
That's what happened. Right? It's not what I'm saying. That's what happened. I didn't do anything to anyone.
But that's not what 2 other people say.
Right? What did the other 2 people say? Right?
Well, Officer
I
Zemer. Okay. His sequence of events is a lot different than your sequence of events. A lot.
Right.
And I'm to the point, let me reiterate, that you just flipped him out.
Because I don't know how I flipped him out, but apparently he was flipped out.
Yeah. He said you weren't yourself.
I wasn't much. All right.
wouldn't be myself either if a police officer confronted me at 12:30 in the morning between two houses. And then we can't discount what the lady says. You know, her dog's barking its head off. Right?
Yeah. Down by the lake, yep, dog's barking his head off.
And
Well, any dog was barking, I don't know where it was at.
okay. And why does she have any reason to call down here and say, hey, this is what's happening in my house? Not once, but twice. And also calls her brother.
But again, I don't know who was messing with the lady. It was not me. Alright? Obviously, if somebody's messing with her, in whatever fashion it was, I don't know. Of course she should call.
Okay, but we've already established there was nobody else there. That you can.
I did not do
You've already established that you're the
terrorize anybody, as you put it. I didn't do anything.
In a final push for a confession, the detectives employed a tactic of trying to appeal to Pelo's conscience, suggesting that he knew in his heart what really happened.
For 1 second. For 1 second. You know that I've done this for a long time, and you've done it for
yes, I have.
You've done it for a long time.
And I didn't do anything wrong last
I know you. I know. And you know what? How many times have we sat in here and listened to somebody for hours and did not do something they did?
I'm not going to be here for hours
And
telling
then,
you that I didn't do anything wrong.
and then, you know, have all the behaviors and all the things that are happening. You know, you were not Sergeant Pelo last night. You were absolutely somebody else. And we can sit here and you can say, this is what I did, and I can sit here and say, this is what we know, till the cows come home. But you know in your heart exactly what happened.
This approach aimed to make it easier for him to admit to his actions. Despite the mounting evidence and prolonged questioning, Pelo maintained his denials throughout the interrogation. However, the detectives have gathered significant evidence to move forward with the case.
At some point in time, I'm sure I had a rat between two houses somewhere to get up from that lady. Alright? But again, when I rat between those two houses, I'm not doing it to look in any windows, I'm not doing it to do anything other than get to the road. Period. I don't know how. Did not do anything wrong.
I just, you know, in this situation, Jeff, you bought and paid for.
Bought and paid for? I didn't do anything wrong.
You know, you're just too much.
Too much?
Too much. Because everyone else has no ulterior motives or ulterior means or anything like that.
Neither
to say
do I.
something that isn't.
Neither do I.
This gal would have just assumed if Jeff Pelo had never come into her life.
I wasn't in that day. I don't even know who that ever is. I can't even tell you which house she was in. Alright? I don't know what car he went to. I didn't ask him, I didn't inquire. He came to your car. And you know that. Whoever that lady called on was not me. I did not go between those houses prior to the time I walked from the lake it up. Alright? Whatever she's saying, it was not me. Alright? I have no idea what her allegation is. I have no idea what she's saying, but it was not me. Alright? It wasn't me.
Following the interrogation, Pelo was eventually charged and later convicted of 35 counts, including 26 counts of aggravated non-consensual physical misconduct. He was sentenced to 440 years in prison, but his sentence was later reduced to 375 years. Lastly, there's the case of this cop who was literally caught with his pants down during an interrogation.
You've seen the report. She describes you to a T. The cargo pants, the dark curly hair, I really don't think I have curly hair. I have dark hair. I'd really like to see the reports or the photos, or, you know, if I can see the photo, maybe we can prove it's not mine. Every Google search is going to come up with my name accused of a crime.
On September the 17th, 2013, a woman reported to Newburyport police that she had spotted a man indulging in self-pleasure in his truck parked on Water Street. Despite noticing her, the man continued his act for a short time before driving away, leaving the witness with only a partial license plate number. Days after the incident, the same witness returned to the police station and was surprised to see the very truck she had reported parked outside. She later inquired whether the police had arrested the man. However, in the wake of these events, Shasson made the decision to change his license plate. The events that later led to Shasson being brought in for interrogation. As the interrogation began, detectives swiftly confronted the sergeant with allegations that threatened to tarnish the entire department. His unexpectedly steady composure left them wondering, was this the confidence of innocence or the practiced poise of a lawman who had crossed the line?
So having those in mind, do you want to talk about the situation? Sure. Okay. I think it'd be easy if I go through a list of questions and get to try to understand the whole thing. So you know the incident we're talking about. We're talking about the Water Street incident. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever gone on the IMC computer and pulled up that incident itself? I have. How many times have you done that? I think 2 or 3 times. Why? Just to check on it and see if there's any more updates or whatnot. Okay. When was the last time you looked at it? I think I looked at it this morning. Okay. With the intent of just keeping track of what's going on with it? Right. Okay. Has there been any changes in it? Not that I noted, no. Okay. How often do you get your hair cut? Monthly. And where do you go? I go to Salisbury Square, but the last time I went to the place next to Panera. It was on a Wednesday. Soriano? Yeah. And how long ago was that to get your last one done? Wednesday, probably 2 to 3 weeks ago. Okay. Do you choose? On occasion. On occasion being? Some points regularly, some points, you know, I quit for a month or two, a week here, a week there. So, yeah, I do. Is it stress-driven? Is it just habit-driven? Habit, nicotine, I guess. Okay. On the 17th, which is the date that we've all been talking about. Yeah. Were you at the police station that morning? I was. How long? I think I left here around well, I came here at 10. Me and Chucky had a meeting with Tony King and Steve Sforza in the morning. I came here after that around 10 o'clock. Probably left here around a little bit before 11. Is that the only time you were in the station that day, or if you can remember? I believe so, yeah. All right. And you remember what you were wearing that day? I was wearing white cargo pants and a red shirt similar to this. I don't know what my footwear was. I assume sneakers. And you operate the truck, the rust-colored truck? Yeah, that is my vehicle. And it's got it had the registration 359 BPH.
The investigators inquired about his appearance and his habits, each question seemingly innocent but designed to match the witness's description of the perpetrator. With every answer, Shasson unknowingly confirmed details that aligned with the accuser's account.
Did you have the truck that day? Yes. Were you on Water Street or Federal Street or any of these streets near there that day? No, I wasn't. Not near any of them? No. Well, it was probably on Water Street maybe, but actually no, it still would have been Market Square if I went up state, so no. So you never went down that way at all? Never. For any reasons that day? Well, no. Not for any reason. The entire day, when you left here, where'd you go? I went to the North End Boat Club, checked on my boat, and then I went home. Was there anybody at home that would? Yeah, my wife. Okay. You know where the ATM machine is on Water Street, correct? Yes. Where's that located? On the east side of the Tannery building. Okay. On Water Street. Facing water? Yeah, I guess. Well, can you see it from Water Street? Yes. Okay, yeah. And you've changed the registration of your truck? I have. Why did you do that?
Because a woman came in here and said that was the truck who she saw somebody masturbating in. And, you know, if somebody was doing that with a truck similar to mine, with a plate similar to mine, I talked to Greg Whitney and he suggested I change my plate.
This admission only deepened suspicion. Why would an innocent man take such drastic action? However, the investigators methodically laid out the circumstantial evidence.
Not really, it's free, you know, it didn't cost me any money. You know, it was just, you know, she keeps on seeing that plate here and keeps on thinking it's me. I was just trying to, you know, like I said, I didn't run out and change the plate. I know how it looks to some people, but, you know, when she came into the station, my place of work, I figured try to, you know, just, you know, stop her from seeing that truck here. I didn't want attention drawn to me or the PD.
Okay. So you got red plates, new red plates.
Right.
Are they both on the truck or just one?
Just one right now.
Was it two?
There was.
So you've taken one off again?
I have.
Why?
The bolts, it rattled. I have to get bolts that don't hit the back of it, so it will tighten up.
Okay. Do you know the lady, oh, you've read in the reports then, who the person, who the
Right.
victim is. Do you know this person?
Never.
Have you ever met her?
No.
Any interaction with her?
Not that I know of, no. You know, when I first thought about this, I was thinking maybe a suspect or something, but, you know, I don't know her, you know, from a hole in the wall, pretty much.
So you didn't commit any acts on Water Street?
Absolutely not.
And no reason to understand why someone would be accusing you of it?
No, I have no open cases, I have no, you know, I don't think it's that. Originally I did, but, you know, there's really no reason to go after me, you know.
Is there anything you can explain to me or make me understand that would, I mean, other than you're saying you didn't do it, I mean, she's describing, you've seen the report, she describes you to a T.
The investigators then presented a series of coincidences too numerous to ignore.
The cargo pants, the dark curly hair.
I really don't think I have curly hair. I have dark hair. But no, I can't explain that away. I honestly can't.
And can you explain why a vehicle similar to yours shows up on the ATM cameras?
No. Probably the vehicle that was there. You know, it's, you know, if there was somebody there in a vehicle like mine, it could have been that vehicle.
Do you know of any other trucks that look like yours with that plate number on it?
Not with that plate number, no. There is a truck around here with green plates, but it's different, different registration. Me and Josh saw it the other day in Salisbury when we were doing a thing. You know. The only difference on that one is the single cab, and I think she described the vehicle that was there as a single cab.
I'm between a rock and a hard plate on this one.
I know how it looks.
It looks
I do.
really bad.
I know.
And if you've got some situation going on, you know, I suggest now's the time to say it, because from here, it's only going to get worse.
The pressure mounted. Would Shasson break under the weight of the evidence? He presented an alibi claiming he was nowhere near the scene.
If there's something going on that you want to talk about, that you want to move forward with, at this moment, this is the only time it's going to happen.
There's nothing I can think of. I wasn't there that day. I wasn't on Federal. I wasn't in the tannery. I wasn't there.
The sergeant, still maintaining his innocence, made a desperate offer.
I'll volunteer to give you my cell phone records. And if they can show the tower where they're from, it'll show the timestamps on where I was when I received that. I was texting you that day about a rubber boat, right around the time of this. I was, well, the earlier calls I was here, I talked to Chris McDonald, I talked to an Ipswich police officer about a dive training, and then I'm back home when I'm on the phone there. You know, I'm not sure what time you text me, I think it was around 11. I don't remember. And you know, I still have them in my phone if you want to see them right now.
Yeah, whatever you got that's...
What time did this allegedly happen? That wasn't, I don't think, in the report.
11:52.
11:52.
With this revelation, his carefully constructed timeline began to crumble. The investigators dug into his text messages from the day on the incident.
September 17th. You sent me a picture at 10:55. 2 pictures at 10:55 of a boat you're looking at.
Okay. Did you respond? I don't remember.
At noon I responded. I was on the road when I got it.
Where were you?
At my house.
You were at your house at noon?
Yes. I typed nice. You gonna go for it? You responded back at 11:59, taking my time. At 12 you came back. Nice little boat though. I responded at 12:01. Yeah, it is. You came back at 12:07, 40 mile an hour top speed. 12:08. I said use it for dive training. You can write it off.
What was the earliest text that you sent?
The earliest one I sent was 59.
What's that?
11:59.
11:59. What's that say?
It says, yeah, it is. Oh no, hold on. It says, nice. You gonna go for it? Question mark. If you want to see it, it's right here. And then we go on. Because I'm sitting at my computer, I actually sent you a photo of one at Seabrook. I said go to boattrader.com. I took a picture of the screenshot.
As they reviewed the messages, crucial time gaps in Shasson's alibi became apparent. However, Shasson attempted to explain his whereabouts.
Because I'm sitting at my computer, I actually sent you a photo of one at Seabrook. I said go to boattrader.com. I took a picture of the screenshot. I said go to boattrader.com, type in 15-foot Zodiac, and then search New Hampshire. The boat is a good deal. Asking $16K, barely used. And that was at 12:14. And then we have a. You just said thanks after that, but you can see from the picture, I'm just. It's a screenshot from my computer.
Right. Don't delete your browsing history.
All right. You can have my cell phone records, get tower information. My wife was home this whole time.
The pressure mounted as Shasson struggled to account for every minute. He provided more details about his movements.
So what times were you home that day? You were from when you left here? What time?
Left here, went to the boat, stayed there for 5 minutes just to make sure the bilge phones were working. I hadn't been on it in a long time. So I'm guessing I got your text on the way home, which was 11.
So you weren't home at 11?
Was not home at 11, probably just after that.
You tell me, estimate. 11:05, 11:10.
11:15.
Say you were here from 10 to 11. I suppose we can check to find out when you left the building.
Right.
Okay, so you leave the building and then you go where?
The boat club.
So you go to the boat club and you're there for how long?
5-10 minutes. Just went down, make sure the boat was floating.
And from the boat club you go right home?
Straight home.
But you said you were down in Market Square.
No, I said when I came over the bridge from meeting with Chucky, I may have gone through Market Square to get to the station. But, I didn't stop anywhere, or anything like that. So that would have been around 10 o'clock. But I wasn't east of Green Street when I left here. And that was right around 11, 10, 55, somewhere around there. Whenever I left here.
Okay.
And you were at your house until when?
Texted with you for a while. Probably left there around 12:30. Actually, no, I went for a walk with my wife. So it was probably in the afternoon if I went anywhere.
Estimate, if you left your house.
I left my house with my wife for a walk.
At 12:30.
Yeah, 12:30. It was right after I was done texting you. We walked the entire rail trail down to Stripers.
So how long were you? How long?
Hour. That's when Gregory called me. I was down pretty much at Stripers.
Where were you when I called you?
On the way back.
You were on the rail trail with her?
Yeah, so I have that in my call log. I'll have that.
This still left a window of time unaccounted for during the alleged incident. Everything seemed okay for him until the investigators begun to question his alibi.
Did anyone see you on the rail trail?
Not that I can no.
That you didn't run into anybody you recognize?
No. I'm there all the time, so, you know, I can't.
How often do you walk the rail trail with your wife?
We've probably done it this fall, probably 3 or 4 times.
How would September 17th stick out in your mind that you guys walked the rail trail from any other day?
Because I told her, like, somebody just accused me of, you know, jerking off in front of, the way Gregory explained it first, somebody was standing in front of the ATM. And then, you know, so she'll remember that day.
So if somebody saw a pickup truck like yours from here on Federal Street later in the morning, early afternoon.
It was not mine.
It's not yours.
Absolutely.
The investigators continued to scrutinize Shasson's call logs and text messages.
I called Brian Reed at 10:19 here from Ipswich PD to Ipswich PD. I called Chris McDonald 10:21. Brian Reed called me back at 10:22. Chris McDonald called me back at 10:33. And Greg Whitney called me about this incident at 12:56.
At 12:56, you're where?
I'm pretty much at Stripers on the rail trail. I call him back 4 minutes later to find out if he's actually serious.
So did you talk to him or did you leave a message?
I talked to him.
Oh.
Lieutenant called me at 1:46.
For, about this?
Yeah, he was kind of, you know, hey, heard you were jerking off in front of the, you know, tannery. Greg Whitney called me back at 1:53. I called him back at 2:05.
Let's go back up around the 11 o'clock then.
All right.
11:50.
11:33 is when I was talking to Chris McDonald here, and I left shortly after that, so.
So 11:33, you're still here?
Yes. My next phone conversation was at 12:56 with Gregory. He called me.
So 11:33, you're here talking to
Chris McDonald.
How long after that conversation did you leave?
Probably right after.
Okay, so you leave here right after, head to the boat, right?
Yep.
At boat club. And your next phone after 11:33 is what?
Next phone is 12:56. Gregory calling me.
A significant gap in communication emerged precisely during the time of the alleged incident.
I have nothing until 11:59.
11:59.
That's when I text the lieutenant. And we have a conversation through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 texts between 11:59 and 12:16.
So 11:59, he texts you.
No, he texted me at 10:59. I was on the road when I got that. I went home, and then I got back to him at pretty much noon.
You got a text from him at 10:59.
Right.
That
he just texted me 2 pictures of a boat.
I'm sorry, Steve. 10:59, he texted you.
10:55. I'm sorry. 10:55. He texted me 2 pictures of a boat.
10:55.
It was about an hour later I got back to him.
What time did you get? So 10:55, you get the text from him.
Yeah, and I was on the road, so I was between here and home.
So 10:55, you get a text from him showing you 2 pictures.
Right.
And you get back to him when?
11:59.
You say, nice, you're going to go for it.
I said, are you going to go for it? Let me get back to it. You can take screenshots if you want. I said, nice, you're going to go for it.
So the only text that you have from 10:55 was the 2 pictures came in from him.
Right.
And an hour later, 11:59.
Yeah.
You take and tell him you're going to go for nice, you're going to go for it.
Right.
And at 10:55, you're on the road going home.
Yeah.
But you tell me at 11:30 you're still here talking to Chris McDonald.
No. I left here at 10:20. My last conversation with Chris was at 10:23.
This statement contradicted his earlier timeline, raising more suspicions.
I have it right here.
Am I wrong or did?
I can
No,
show
I
it to
thought
you.
you said, I thought you said 11:23.
No, 10:23, I'm talking to Chris McDonald and Brian Reed right after
Okay,
each
you-
other.
Okay,
I'll show it
so
to
I'm
you
just,
right
no,
now.
I'm not arguing, I'm just trying to get it correct. My understanding was you said the first one you had was 11:33, talked to Chris McDowell, and you left the station right after that and went to the
It
boat
was
club.
10, it was, I'll pull it up again. It was 10:23, I think, or
Okay.
10:33 is when I started those. I'll show it to you right now.
So you left, or you left the station at 10:23.
10:30. So
Okay.
Let me find out exactly when the last conversation was with
And then you,
Chris.
and then you went to the boat club.
Right.
Up to this point, the investigators had a trump card they hadn't yet revealed. It was at this point the investigator laid out the damning evidence.
Here's the problem I'm having. I've got a lady that describes a guy that fits your description. The
Somewhat.
haircut. somewhat.
I don't
Well,
think the haircut does. I've never had curly hair, so, but.
Well, dark hair, wavy hair, wearing cargo pants, driving an orange burnt truck with the 3 initials to your plates.
Right.
That appears to be chewing. All right, it's got a lump right in the front of his chin, which you admittedly do.
Shasson attempted to differentiate himself. However, his attempt to distance himself only served to confirm another detail.
With Dyson hairs, but I don't put it in the front of my chin. I put it on the side of my mouth, but,
Okay.
no, splitting hairs, but.
So I'm asking, I'm just looking for some way, given the circumstantial evidence that we have here, you know, the next step.
Can
is
she
that-
do a lineup? Can she do a,
Um,
you know,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure she can pick you out of the lineup.
well, I'm hoping she wouldn't pick me out of a lineup. Can she see me and say, no, that's not him, or I don't see the person here?
She's not confident. So now we're back to all the circumstantial stuff.
The investigator presented even more circumstantial evidence.
I've got a burnt colored truck parked in front of the bank. I've got your plate number, the last 3 numbers of a plate that's yours.
Yeah.
I've got you changing your plates.
Well, changing
I've
my,
got you-
you
Well,
know,
I'm just telling you what the facts are.
all right.
You've never come down to speak to me not once about this, never to say anything other than, you know, like I was never there, anything.
I thought it went away. You know, I thought this was,
Well,
this is 6 weeks later, and, you know,
If you thought it went away, why do you keep looking at the report?
just to see if anything's changed.
Why would you do that?
Just to see if, you know, Gregory got anything back, any more, you know, evidence or whatnot.
What would it matter if it wasn't you?
I'd like to find out who it was. You know, I think Gregory would come to me, but, you know, Gregory doesn't come to me anymore, so, you know, I figured, you know,
I
something.
feel like you're out there by yourself.
Yeah.
His explanation seemed only to dig him deeper into suspicion. However, the investigator questioned Shasson's lack of proactive response.
You reach out to nobody.
In what way?
Well, you say, oh, I'm saying, I guess.
I was reaching out to Greg, seeing if he found out anything, and he said he was out looking for the truck, stuff like that. Quite honestly, I was too. You know, I almost got in an accident over at Tom's Discount. I saw a truck like mine, and, you know, I went to look at it and almost ran into the guy in front of me. You know, it's not like, you know, I just thought, you know, nothing happened after the first week or two. This was gonna go away. I knew how it looked, you know, and that's what I was hoping for.
Well, I can certainly imagine that you're hoping for that.
Right.
Now, you've chased down some trucks that look like yours?
Yeah.
Have you got the plate numbers?
Got the plate of one.
Is there anything close to your plate?
No.
Is there
But there are BPH plates. There's one in Salisbury. We have 2 in-house here. You know, they're not on those trucks, but, you know, on the offhand, you know, Gregory said she wasn't even sure. She didn't think it was a mass plate. So, you know, then we're looking at New Hampshire. You know, I know Maine doesn't have any green plates, but, you know.
At this point, the investigator could only emphasize the gravity of the situation.
Well, I'll go back to my options. I've got limited options. I've got overwhelming circumstantial evidence that points towards you. I'm hoping you can offer me something that's going to take and...
My wife can attest to where I was. I don't know if my father lives next door, but I'm not sure where he was during the time or whatever. You know, I can look into it more, you know, try and think if somebody was around, but,
You wanna take a polygraph?
Sure.
You have no problem taking that?
No problem at all.
Okay. The last thing I wanna do is criminally charge you. I
hope
wanna
so.
take and flip over every cup we can.
Yeah,
If we end up going down that road, you realize we're not coming back.
right.
Okay, there's no coming back, so that's why I'm saying to you, I spoke to the district attorney's office this morning. Today is the day where if there's any changes, today would be the day that it's decided up, and if it's not you, it's not you.
It's not
but
me.
I'm just saying, I want to put everything on the
understand that.
table for options for
He
you.
maintained his innocence and asked about investigative efforts.
Was there anything done to look at the bank? To look at, maybe putting a camera out there, see if this person comes back? Anything done like that? Did anyone look into the partial plates? I don't know how to run that stuff. Find out the BPHs in Massachusetts, or the BHPs, or the HPBs. I'm not sure how sure she was on the plate, but officers do it all the time. We call in numbers, we transcribe certain numbers in the back. I'm hoping something like that would be done to try and help me out.
We've tried to do everything we can to put this best light on this. I've only known 2 of the trucks that look like yours, and the planes aren't even close to yours. I don't know. Again, I go back to what I have. I go back to the hair, I go back to the build, I go back to the cargo pants, I go back to the truck, I go back to the plate, I go back to you were in the city, you're adamant that you weren't near the place.
I was.
I guess it would've been a lot easier for me to say, that you were driving by the place or whatever, and that,
That would have been easy, but I didn't.
that's fine. Is there anything else you wanna tell us, because this is gonna conclude, if you've got nothing else to offer up?
I got thrown at this today. No, I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, anything else that we can look at?
Cameras, I don't know. Can I see the photos of the truck at the ATM?
At some point you can.
Can I see the reports?
At some point you will.
However, his eagerness to see the evidence seemed to betray his nervousness.
This would help me in my trying to prove.
Well, we've got a case going here. You're the one that's supposed to be able to give me something to go
I gave you
further.
I'm home with my
something.
wife.
Okay.
Interview her.
Okay. Do you want us to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
If that's going to help me, of course.
All right. And you're willing to take a polygraph?
Yes.
Okay, so if I set one up with the state police, you have no problem coming in and
No.
taking it? Okay. Anything else you want to add or anything?
I'd really like to see the reports or the photos, or if I can see the photo, maybe we can prove it's not mine.
Well, the photo's not going to do us a lot other than I can tell you there's some burnt color orange in there. It's not going to depict.
Does it depict the person?
No.
What's in the back of the truck?
No.
My truck is loaded with crap all the time. If they can.
Well, we try to talk to the victim about, is there anything else in the vehicle you could take and tell us about the internal, the bed of the truck? Unfortunately, most of the attention was drawn to the individual themselves in the act. The shock value, and I think we all know about the shock value, and what this does to people.
Yeah.
So there's very little more that we can say about, or she could tell us about the incident itself, or the person.
I'm saying I have anti green all through my truck. It's.
Well, let's do this. We're gonna set up something to interview your wife.
All right.
We're gonna set up a polygraph and get it as soon as I can get it.
All right.
We're gonna place you on leave.
Oh, please don't.
You're going on, I have no choice.
Please
I
don't.
have no
I'm
choice.
living paycheck to paycheck right now.
His emotional plea could only reveal the mounting pressure he was under.
I have no, it's with pay.
Yeah, but still, I can't work details.
I know.
I'm on a detail right now. This will help me. Is this gonna go public?
Right now, you're on administrative leave until we finish this.
I'm begging you. Please don't do this to me.
Steve, I've talked to
Go through the
everybody.
investigation. I'm not gonna interfere with the investigation. I've been here for 6 weeks.
I understand that. Well, some of this information has just come to us very recently, like since Friday. I've talked to the chief's attorney, I've talked to the district attorney's office, I've talked to the city's attorney. I don't have a choice in this. That I gotta put you out because of everything that we see at this point is
How quickly?
compelling. I'm gonna make the phone calls as soon as we get down here, as soon as I get one, I'll have it done.
Can I take vacation time just so it doesn't look like I'm out there being...
Do you see where I'm coming from? I mean,
I see where you're coming from. I honestly do.
I did not want to come in here Monday morning and be dealing with this situation. I don't want to be looking at one of my officers as being a suspect in anything. But in fairness to you, in fairness to the organization, there's certain things that have to happen, and this is going to be one of them. It's with pay. I'll make the phone call as soon as we get out of here. If you want to hang around, I'll actually tell you as soon as we get one done. We'll get it done.
All right.
And we'll go from there. It's not something I want to do. It's not something that's...
Can you talk to my wife first?
I can talk to your wife, but at the end of the day, where we are right now is what's going to happen. While your wife can probably provide information to us, I still got to look at the other side of everything that's out there, and obviously, your wife would be more supportive to you.
The weight of potential public disgrace hung heavy in the air as Shasson struggled with the magnitude of his predicament.
What if this gets out and the paper gets a hold of it? And then I'm cleared. Every Google search is going to come up with my name, accused of a crime.
Well, what may get out there and what's confirmed out there is never going to be... you don't think that there's officers in here talking now? You don't think it's important to clear your name internally?
Yeah.
And I'm doing everything I can because it's more important to me to find the truth. And if the truth be that you are not guilty of this, to take and clear your name so that you're not walking around here with this, sitting over your head for the next 20 years. I understand that.
Right.
So it's important to us, to the victim, it's also important to me, to you, to bring this to a conclusion, whether or not whichever way it may go. But you can't work the rest of your career here with these people looking at you as being potential, as being a guy that was involved in something. You just can't do that. It's important to clear your name if it's...
No, I agree with you 100%, but can we do it with me not being out on leave?
Well,
Suddenly, an investigator dropped a bombshell.
Right now, Steve, minus the polygraph, you're gonna get charged today with the crime. We're gonna charge you, all right? I don't have a choice. We've weighed this out, we've had discussions, we've tried every way possible.
So you charge me, it's going to be out in the public. There's no...
I'm not charging you, I just said, I'm waiting out the polygraph.
All right.
All right? So right now, you're on administrative leave only while we do that polygraph with no charges. And it's because you want to take that test.
Right.
Otherwise, I got very little to go on other than to take and charge you. I just don't know how, I mean, if you look at all the circumstantial evidence.
Let me see the report, let me see the pictures, let me try and say, have you taken the pictures and held them next to my truck and look for something, look for a dent, look for an inspection sticker, look for
I don't have the stuff you're
anything.
looking for. I don't have all that, right? I got a snapshot of a rear end of a truck that is.
Does it have a trailer hitch on it? Does it have?
I got nothing. It's an ATM machine. We've got the focus of the ATM machine is on the person using the facility, not on the external pieces. So, as you know with any picture, the internal image is sharp, the external images are blur, and that's all we have.
So it's just the back end of a truck?
That's exactly right. Which depicts mostly just color only.
No tire type, no bumper? This is...
Oh,
This is the worst day of my life, I'm telling you right now.
It's not something I'm looking forward to.
I know you're not, and I know you're not trying to...
My intent is to take and come to the truth. And the truth I'm hoping to be is you're not the guy.
Right.
And I'm doing everything I can to try to make that the case.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you right now, circumstantially, it's very difficult to do. I think that a lot can be played out by you wanting to take that test and see whether or not, how that comes out. We've looked at videos, we've tried to find video, we've tried everything we can on our side to try to take and seek the truth. And like I said, at this end, victim's been re-interviewed. The victim is a very credible witness. And I don't know, like I said, the rest of it is what it is.
The words hit Shasson like a truck. His world was on the brink of total collapse. As Shasson's world crumbled, we were left to ponder. Was this the reaction of a man facing false accusations, or the realization that his crimes had caught up with him? In a last-ditch effort, Shasson tried to explain his actions.
I changed my plate just because she came in here, and I just kind of wanted this to, I just wanted it over with. And I wasn't trying to hide. I parked in the driveway in that vehicle. I didn't run. What was it? A week later, 2 weeks later, or something. It was just like, and if somebody's out there doing, what I'm accused of in a car like mine, in a truck like mine, with plates like mine, might as well take that equation out of it. So that's the only thing I can see that was weird. It's and I had a reason behind it. I even talked to Gregory that morning, and he was just like, you might want to think about changing your plates, and it's a green plate, you can trade them in for free, and that's what I did.
Was this the beginning of a confession or another desperate attempt to prove his innocence? Anyway, the detective delivered the final blow.
There's no way to get out of it once you're charged. Whether you're found guilty or not guilty, it is what it is, and I understand that.
All right,
For that reason, I'm thankful you were willing to speak this morning, because, other than that, if you said nothing, there was nothing left for me to do but to go forward with the job.
The room fell silent, the weight of these words crushing down on him. The point of no return loomed ever closer. In the end, Sergeant Stephen Shasson of the Newburyport Police was subjected to a polygraph. He eventually failed the lie detector test and confessed. However, charges were never pressed. Instead, he was allowed to quietly resign.